Hi everybody, Paul Cameron here from SpeedUpMyJobSearch.com with a clip from our monthly jobs-driven networking group, which meets every third Thursday. Let's take a look.
So the first section here on the agenda is an IT process mistake that I have seen numerous times over the years as a senior IT recruiter myself. And it kills your company brand, right? And that is testing extensively before qualifying the candidate. All right, why is that a problem? Well, from the IT candidate's perspective, if you have them take a lengthy test, a 45-minute coding test and a personality test, and then fill out that application that takes them, an hour if they don't have one of these shortcut tools, it takes them a ton of time, and then they don't pass, then that person who just spent all that time taking that test then goes to their job club and says, hey, this Blarg Incorporated gave me a 45-minute coding test and they never even spoke to me at any point. I think they just needed some free code, so they put that out there. Hey, how would you code this? And then I don't even get an interview? Really? Oh my goodness, it sounds awful. And I'm going to go warn my other group, right? Because the people, you guys here today, I'm sure you've attended other job club meetings, right? Well, you hear about a company that's really doing a number on folks, you're going to tell people, oh, I heard bad things about them, right? If you hear somebody saying one of my target companies is, Blarg Incorporated, well, you're going to warn them, right? And all those other people at that club, and word spreads very, very quickly. And the top talent out there, when they see a test that's going to take them an hour and a half before they even walk through the door, they're going to say, thanks, but no thanks. I'm going to go look at one of these other 4 companies that have called me. So let's look at number 2, priming the interview for success, to have a better interview. Now we can think about how we're going to set up our interview, where a lot of companies will start with, so tell me about yourself, as they're looking through your resume, right? Which the IT person who puts 2 and 2 together pretty quickly realizes, okay, this person's not prepared for this. And then I've got to recite my tell me about yourself speech that I rehearsed and memorized. That's not a great frame of mind to start them in. And then you follow that with, well, why should I hire you for this? Right? That puts them on the defensive. That creates this me versus you scenario. And then their mind goes into this, this mode where they're looking for logical win scenarios, where they're looking for ways to game this interview and tell you what you want to hear, which may or may not be embellished, we'll say, right? It just sets up a scenario for the conversation that's not going to be an open, honest discussion. And this is where bad hires in IT come from. Maybe let's try a different approach for these interviews. If we're going to prime it for success, we want to appreciate them, connect with them, focus them in on the job itself, and then we can inform them about how it's an even better fit than they already think. All right, so here's what I mean by this. All right, so they walk in, if you're appreciative of the fact that they're there, not that, oh, I had to stop this meeting and I got this other thing, it's such a busy day. They walk in, oh, I'm so glad you were able to meet with us today. That makes them feel great. Then you want to find something in common that you have with them, some kind of commonality between you and them, and mention it. So glad that you were able to meet with us today. And I saw on your resume that you are, a member of the Chicago Technology Network. So am I. And that's such a great group. How'd you get into that? Right? You're creating that commonality, that bond, that, hey, we have something in common, which makes them feel at ease with you. And a good first question, or somewhere near the beginning of that interview, say, so tell me about what you're hoping to find in your next role, which communicates, I care about you, and I'm curious to know if we're going to be able to do what you need us to do. Right? Let them answer, and then follow it up with, well, which of those things are some of those things what you saw in this role, or what was it about this role that you were interested in and wanted to come in and meet with us? Right? You want them to tell you why they're interested in the role, because that's going to confirm for them that this was not a waste of time to come in. And then after that, you can then undoubtedly expand on what they already know. Well, I heard that I'd get to use some of this and this and this, these technologies in this role. And you can expand it. Actually, you get to use those, but also we just got this, which is going to go in there. Oh, wow, really? You can expand on those and then fill them in on some of the other things that you now know they're interested in because you first asked, what are you looking to find in your next role? And you can expand on some of the things about your role that they don't know about. Now, if you do all of this right at the very beginning of the interview, now they are set up to be excited about this role and to share more about themselves. If you use some priming words, if you really want to dip into social psychology, using words like share, community, open, warm, some of these words that will trigger them to be more at ease and to be more talkative about their background, that's going to help tremendously. The one caveat or caution I would give you here, be brief. Interview beats. And what I mean by this is if you are familiar with improv comedy at all, like Second City, right? They will have what they call beats of the scene, right? The improv actors go up on stage and they ask for suggestions from the audience. All these things that come from the audience, those are what are called beats of the scene. And it doesn't matter what happens in the scene or how they get there or what's going on, as long as those beats happen, that's all that matters. And if you think of your important points from that perspective, it's easier to go with the flow of the conversation. Number one is to be aware of the time, right? So if you said the interview is going to last a half an hour, make sure you're aware of when a half an hour is up, right? Because from the candidate's perspective, and I hate to throw such a huge statistic on this, but I still think it would be low to say that 90% of the candidates I talk to after their interviews tell me how long or short the interview went in comparison to how long it was supposed to go, right? So if it was a half an hour, supposed to be a half an hour, and it went an hour, oh, that was a great interview. It was only supposed to go a half an hour, and they had me there for a full hour. That's got to be a good sign, right? Or, it was supposed to be an hour, but I was out of there in a half an hour, in 30 minutes. So I don't know. I don't think it went well, right? And they're gauging everything based on that time perspective. So if you think it might go an hour, tell them it's supposed to go half an hour and block off an hour just in case. That way they feel great if it goes the full length. And now you've got an out if you don't want to talk to this person for a full hour, right? How do you get out sooner? Set the time for sooner, but ask them to block out more time just in case. Instead of asking questions such as, why should I hire you? Instead, to get the exact same information, what would you say makes you unique as a Java developer, right? Compared to the other Java developers that you've worked with over the years. What would you say you do a little bit differently? There's lots of Java developers out there. What do you see that you do differently compared to the other people you've worked with? How will this job advance your career? Now, why do you want to work here? How will this advance your career? Right? Because the answers you get from that will tell you a lot about their opinion of the job. Right? Because they're going to come back with either all the reasons that they're excited about the job, or if they're hesitant, they're going to give you answers such as, well, if you do this, then this would really be a nice step. Or if this happens, then if you get a bunch of if-then statements, they're really concerned. If you really want this person, you need to address those concerns. At all times, especially in IT interviews, you'll remember this is a very unnatural situation for programmers and data architects and network architects, and they're not used to sitting in meeting rooms talking about what they do or how they do what they do. They're just used to doing it. and you want to make it comfortable.
I hope that was helpful for you, and please check out the rest of our YouTube channel for more tips and strategies to help you with your job search. I'd love to meet you at the next one, so I hope you can make it. Thanks for watching.